In this video, I visit Hawaii to have breakfast with Mickey Mouse, eat local grinds, check out some Hollywood movie sites, get laid at the Luau, snorkel with sea turtles, and share all the fun things we did on vacation. I am Melso, and this is 7 Days in Oahu. 7 Days in Oahu. 7 Days in Oahu. 7 Days in Oahu. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and surprisingly, we're already wide-eyed and ready for the day. The excitement for the trip ahead got us all fired up. The next few days are going to be amazing. It's an opportunity for all of us to briefly escape the everyday hustle.
Hold the strap to tighten.
No commute, no work, no deadlines, and hopefully, no stress. We're off to Hawaii. Isolated in the Pacific Ocean, famous for its beautiful landscape, its glass-clear ocean waters, and the hot tropical sun, Hawaii is a thriving hub for tourism. And as I stare out the window upon landing, it's easy to see why travelers from all ends of the earth love visiting this piece of paradise. October. We find ourselves in Oahu, smack dab in the busy tourist destination of Waikiki, where my family and 40 or so of my wife's relatives have come to do what the millions of other visitors do in Hawaii each year. Touristy shit. 40 relatives though, and this only counts for those who are able to make this trip. This family is big, and so are their personalities.
Goddamn, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
The first day on Oahu was just a day to get things ready for the week. Lately, I've been focusing more on my fitness goals, and I made it a point to have at least one hard training session while on vacation. It was a good time to go to Kingsman Boxing. I showed up to this gym a few hours after landing, met the owner, and I put in some work. Mahalo, Coach Kev, for being so welcoming and taking the time to hold mitts for me. The vibes here are dope. If you're ever in Oahu, hit up Kingsman Boxing and tell him I sent you. An early morning stroll along the Waikiki Strip. Absent are the hordes of tourists that will swarm the sidewalks later in the day. With most of the stores closed at this time, it's likely that the people you come across all have the same thing in mind: breakfast. So where do you go for good food this early on the Strip? Island Vintage Coffee. Satisfied with our meals and caffeine kick, we walk back to our hotel to get our beach gear for a full day of saltwater therapy.
Oh man, salty, man. Hawaii, baby.
Jumping into the warm, glassy ocean was refreshing. This is paradise. A drive to the lush, leeward side of Oahu brings you to a beautiful place where Hawaiian culture and traditions inspired the world of Disney to take more of our money in the form of Aulani Resort. While we didn't book our stay here, we reserved a table for breakfast. And this is where most of us with little ones enjoyed our meals with some familiar characters joining in on the fun.
Is that for kids?
The popular Aloha Stadium Swap Meet, where local vendors sell Hawaiian souvenirs and more at a fraction of the price you'd find in stores. We checked out the vendors, haggled a bit, and I bought some fresh coconut juice. It seemed like such a waste to just throw away the coconut after drinking it, so I took it back to the hotel, hoping to open it up for the meet. But the knives we had there sucked. I had the bright idea to use my Muay Thai skills to try to crack it open. Okay, this was unsuccessful, but I'm pretty sure there's a lesson somewhere about persistence and acceptance here.
No, it doesn't hurt.
My elbow's fine, by the way. Thanks for asking. The whole family met for dinner that night. It was great to see all 40 of us together. We came to eat. We came to catch up. We came to celebrate. The Side Street Inn is a popular local restaurant once featured on No Reservations with Anthony Bourdain. They had some of the best garlic fried chicken, fried pork chops, and Korean-style short ribs that I've ever had. Dessert was needed. And when in Hawaii, there's no better way to satisfy that craving than to indulge in an icy cold treat they call shaved ice. We made the short walk down to Ululani Shave Ice and packed the house. To make it, they finally shave ice, compact it into a bowl, glaze over flavored syrups, and top it off with mochi and condensed milk. I was a first timer, and despite what I originally thought it was, this ain't your average snow cone. Far from it, my friends. Highly recommended. Kualoa, considered one of the most sacred places in Oahu by the ancient Hawaiians. This was once the residence of kings, a place of refuge, and a sanctuary for Hawaiian royalty who trained in the arts of war, history, and social traditions. We're here at Kualoa Ranch, who in the present day hosts tours and commercial activities to help protect and enhance the natural beauty of these lands. We started our day with the Hollywood movie sites tour, where we hopped on a bus with Sunshine, our driver and tour guide, who took us to sections of the property where movies like Jurassic Park and a whole lot of other Hollywood hits were filmed. Throughout the tour, Sunshine would teach us about Hawaiian culture and the current farm work being done at the ranch. There was an actual bunker from World War II that we were able to explore. In it were props and memorabilia from movies and TV shows filmed here over the years. The boneyard from King Kong's Skull Island was another cool stop to explore.
Oh my God.
At the end of the tour, some of us were getting pretty hangry. Luckily, our tour package included the lunch buffet. The next part of our tour was ready. The Ocean Voyage Adventure.
A beautiful mountain behind.
We hopped on a boat and crossed an 800-year-old fish pond, which amazingly is still actively used to this day. We learned about its history, the fish that inhabit it, and their sustainable fishing practices. We reached their secret island, where we boarded a bigger boat for an open ocean tour of the beautiful Kahanamoku Bay. There's no way in hell that my camera could ever capture the beauty of what I saw. The views were breathtaking.
How you told her that though, like
He waited a little bit until after he said it. It's happening right now.
Diamond Head was formed about 300,000 years ago during a volcanic eruption that created its cratered landscape. In the 1700s, Western explorers discovered calcite crystals within its rocks and mistook them for diamonds, which is why this place is known today as Diamond Head. It's a popular hike for tourists in Oahu. A relatively easy hike, but the uneven dirt and steepness of the trail complicates things a bit.
Run it.
The last part of the trail is all stairs, and it leads you to the top of the crater, where you can pat yourself on the back for making it up here. And of course, reward yourself with gorgeous views of the valley and coastline. That hike got us hungry. Back at the hotel, my mother-in-law was whipping up some breakfast. One of the cousins picked up some malasadas from Leonard's Bakery, a must-have in Oahu, by the way. And we crowded the room with the smell of sweat and corned beef circulating through the air. The motherfucking Luau. You've probably heard about it. Leis, tikis, mai tais, hula. It's everything about Hawaii. Cliched, commercialized, and made palatable for the everyday tourist. But despite that, it's still one hell of a good time. steady course of conch horns meant that it was time to eat. We lined up for the buffet where traditional Hawaiian foods were available. As we feasted, the show began. It was a variety show that spoke about the meaning of aloha, the cultural history of Hawaii, their traditions, and also introduced us to other Polynesian cultures through song and dance. This eventually leads us to the famous part of the show where audience participation is required. My little nephews were picked to go up, and they had a blast.
Loosen up those hips. There you go.
Samoan fire dancers. They were fucking epic. The twirling and juggling of flaming batons, the fast-paced rhythm of the drums, matched by the hypnotic spinning of the hot flames had me mesmerized. There was fire eating and fire breathing in the mix too. One of the dudes even lit his crotch on fire. By accident, a little something for the ladies, who knows? But as the fire kept spinning and spinning, the drums got faster and faster. And the whole crowd, myself included, were left amazed by the phenomenal performance these guys had just put on. By the end of the luau, any distaste that I had for it didn't matter. It was a fun experience for the kids, and a good way for everyone in the family to learn a little about Polynesian culture. Bottom line, these luau's are something worth experiencing at least once in your lifetime. Picture day. All 40 of us. Together again, this time in color-coordinated outfits and sand between our toes for a morning sunrise photo session at Kahanamoku Beach. Next to our photographer, we have my cousin Holly, voluntarily directing each family and orchestrating a smooth operation. And that's exactly what she's done for us this whole trip. From planning and creating an itinerary to making sure everyone was accounted for each activity. There's no doubt that she was a major part in making this trip happen. So on behalf of everybody, thanks, Holly.
Pulling back, come on in.
If you have any questions after the film, feel free to stop by the beach kiosk. It is staffed by volunteers.
Hanauma Bay, the Curved Bay, a jewel of the Oahu coast with a pristine marine ecosystem. This place has been protected as a marine life conservation area and underwater park since 1967. It's one of the most popular destinations for snorkeling on the island, and we made reservations to check it out ourselves. Schools of big and little fish surrounded me. The fish were unbothered by my presence. Their world within the reef was beautiful. I could be here all day if I could, but they close early at 4 p.m. This was definitely a highlight of my trip. Duke's on the Waikiki Strip is an iconic establishment that pays tribute to the legendary Hawaiian Olympic swimmer and surfer, Duke Kahanamoku. We closed out the night by letting the kids hang out and just enjoying some food here. There there was a live band playing, and the kids were able to request for them to play a Taylor Swift song. They delivered. It was our last full day in Hawaii. And you know, the snorkeling was so damn nice, we just had to do it twice. This time, we're swimming with sea turtles. We booked a trip with Holokai Catamaran for the Turtle Canyon adventure. We jumped in the water, followed the guide, and it didn't take long for us to take a glimpse of our first sea turtle that morning. At one point, there were just too many people crowding around the turtle, so I swam away from the group. And just my luck, another sea turtle was making its way up for air right next to me. I did my best to swim in place, claiming my spot before the crowd could follow. And I just soaked in the moment. The second part of the adventure package was a sailing expedition. We were cruising, sipping on drinks, and just enjoying the views at this point. At least, all of us who weren't seasick, of course. Snorkeling sure builds up an appetite, so we hit up the restaurant close by called MonkeyPod, where we enjoyed some food and Mai Tais with a beachside view.
October's over, bitches.
We all walked back to the hotel. We made a few stops along the way. After a much-needed nap, the walk to our dinner reservations involved a little bit of shopping. We made it to Roy's, where we'll be celebrating my Tita Marlene's birthday. Food here was delicious. I had the classic trio, a sampler of their most popular fish dishes. And of course, I ordered a Mai Tai to wash it all down with. Dinner ended with dessert as we all sang happy birthday to my lovely auntie. Good night, Hawaii. Hawaiians have the word ohana, meaning family. But the concept of ohana goes deeper than blood. To truly embrace ohana means to develop a care and devotion that extends to everybody. When you marry into a family, for better or worse, you inherit the relatives, the traditions, and if you're lucky, create new bonds that strengthen over the years. And I found myself to be among the lucky ones. They say it takes a village to raise a child. And when I think about my own family and the future that I want to create for them, I'm happy that my children can experience growing up feeling loved by these special people in my life. After a week in paradise, it's finally time to snap out of this dream and head back home. Until next time, aloha.